Hello everyone, welcome to Twins Talk. I have two new printers here on my desk today. One is the Elegoo hard to get Saturn. This is actually from the first batch in 2021 and they improved some stuff. They changed the printer in some specs, so we're going to unbox this one and see what's different. And I have the Anycubic Photon Mono X. These are actual direct competitors and we're going to compare their build quality, their form of the vat and so on, and to see what's different. I will have a direct comparison of these two printers, so stay tuned and find out more here at Twins Talk. So we're going to start with the Elegoo Saturn, and I'm just going to unbox this and we're going to see what's inside. We have these hard pieces, some kind of a foam, and then these plastic pieces for the corners, and some foam again, and that's it. This is just the manual, and yeah, we're going to check this later on. Okay. I have to get this onto the side here. There's a box, a toolkit. This is actually the same toolkit we had on the Elegoo Mars and the Mars Pro. It's the same. We have a clipper. Then we have a scraper, some tools with some screws in there, the power supply, filters, yeah, all that stuff you had on the Mars Pro or the other Mars printers, the USB stick. And then we have a leveling paper. It is a thick one, so yeah, we're going to use this to level the bed. Okay, so go onto the printer. Let's get this one out. A little heavy. So some plastic. It's packed actually really well. We have the cover here with some foil on there. And this one. Yeah. Let's see how we can get this off. For the back. And we have the build plate in here. Okay, oh, this is nice. I will just show you that later on. Okay, just get all this off here. So This looks nice. Okay, I have to get a silicone mat under this, but as you can see here, I will just try to focus on this. This is actually sandblasted. A nice finish. Let's see if I can focus that better. And it feels great. Much better than the CD-like spirals they had on the other platforms. I have one from the Mars, so I will just get that one, and we'll just do a small comparison of how this looks. So, I'm back. Let's see. I have two plates here. One is from the Elegoo Mars, and actually, if you can see this, this is this spiral CD-like, finish on there. They have used the lathe, I think, just turning it and getting in there with the, I don't know how you call it. So this is done in a lathe, and this is the one from the Saturn, and you can see here, let's see if I can focus on that, that it has a nice finish, sandblasted finish. The corners are not so nice actually, they are sharp, but we are going to see how the Anycubic looks like. And this is actually the one from the FEP Pro 1000, and this is also sandblasted. And all these things, actually, all the parts I've been printing on the FEP Pro stick so well onto this build plate. So I think these sandblasted structures or finishes are much better than what we have on this one, on the Elegoo Mars we had. So let's look at the other parts here. I will try to get a focus on the machine like this. And yeah, we have some foam in there, then we have the screws, and it looks like they have been testing these. And as you can see, there's this little knob where you get in, and it's scratched on the surface. So yeah, we have to see. I think they are testing the parts before they ship. And we have some grease on the linear bearings here, on the rails here. This looks great. It's okay. That's nice. I didn't have that on my Mars. And I will just get this out, and then I will just show you something, which actually is the improved version. So this is the improved version, and I'm going to show you something on this printer. Let's see. If you look closely, these new plates have been added to the rail or the Z-axis here. These two plates, they didn't have these on the first models, or on the first versions. And also they just changed here some of the screws you had here. I will show a picture on some of the corners here, so you can compare it with the old version. And also what I did find out here is actually I'm on these owners Facebook groups, and they have been talking about all of this. And yeah, we have these films you have to remove. One is the polarizer, so don't remove the polarizer. The other one is just a film which you can remove. So do not remove the black protective tape. And step one, please peel off this film before printing. And this is this film here on top. And removing this, I just removed this one. And maybe I can use this as a protector film. So let's see. And they have been talking about these new LCDs. And this is actually, can you hear that? It's glass on top. So the new versions do have a glass on top of the LCD screen, and we have to peel this off. That's okay. Please peel off this film before printing. So we can peel off a film here, and beneath that there's the polarizer. And actually there was some kind of a polarizer. Yeah, the polarizer is on top here, and there's the LCD. It's hard now. It's not as it's blank, so there's something on top of that. I think it's glass, and there's no strip which will say don't remove the polarizer. We will have some additional information on here. Let's see. Yeah, actually they are saying that it is glass. Here, let's see. This is, I don't know, I hope you can read this. So let's see, on the top camera maybe. Let's check on the top camera. Yeah, so as you can see, they are stating here, please do not peel off the polarizer. And they also say there's a transparent protective film. Please peel this off. Please, yeah, peel it off. And they are also stating that it is glass now. I hope they mean that it's the top layer which is glass. So there are some improvements, and I hope this will also increase print quality. And all in all, it's the same printer. It's Saturn. We have some improvements, these brackets, and for the stiffness. We have some changes in these screws here. And all in all, it looks nice. It's a nice finish on top. I cannot say much more on this printer, so we're going to unbox the Anycubic and see how the Anycubic looks like. The packaging is different. It's more on the vertical than on the horizontal for the Mars, for the Saturn. So we're going to unbox this, and let's see how to get this printer out. So this is also, let's say, a 2021 model. I did get this a week ago. So it is actually nearly the same packaging as what we have for the Mars, for the Saturn. I'm always talking about the Mars, but it's the Saturn. So, and protective pieces for the corners and foam everywhere. So let's see how to get this out. Tap foam. Get the foam off from here for the Saturn, just to have them separated. So, okay, how do we get this out? Get it on down there and get it out. Let's see. Maybe I can just pull, yeah, on this plastic. Okay, that's it. I think it's heavier than what we have for the Saturn. I think the build plate is also a little bit bigger. So let's see, how do we get this off? Okay. Okay, yeah. So, like this. There's some other foam in there, and I'll just get this out. Okay, there is the bed leveling paper in here, and an assembly instruction. So we have to assemble this somehow. I will check that. And this paper can be used for leveling. And they also have this paper like what we have for the Saturn. So let's see. Get this stuff out. Like so. Okay. Really well packaged, I have to say. Also the Saturn 2. And we have in here the accessories and the build plate. I will check that in a second. So this is the base. So get this out. And as you may know, the Anycubic Photon PhotonX does have a Wi-Fi function, and you can put in the antenna. And these are nicely extruded parts. The linear rails are okay, but they are not. There's no grease on it. Really little grease on that. Okay, and I have to say the Saturn does look better in comparison to these rails. We have to check that later on. I will give you a side-by-side comparison. So let's see. That's okay. And let's check the screen here. We have some film we can remove, I think. Yeah, like so. And let's see. This actually feels like a glass top. Yes, or it's plastic. I think it's plastic. We maybe will scratch on a corner or so. We'll see later on. On all, I have to say it looks great. It is heavier and a little bit bigger. And let's see the build plate and the vat. So we have the build plate here. And this is a different finish than what we have on the Elegoo Saturn. So it's just sanded down. It looks like, yeah, in one direction. It's, let's see, it's not sanded. It's also not the same structure as for the Mars. It's different. So I will show you the build plates later on in a comparison of these two. And let's see. It looks shiny, it's okay, and it's a different structure. I think I will just try to get a focus on this later on, so we can compare the build plates. All in all, looks nice. It's great. So what we have here is the vat. Let's see, how do we get the vat out? This is actually, we have to pull it out. And yeah, we have the vat in a bag. I will later check the tune of these Vats. So I will check that for the Anycubic and PhotonX and the Elegoo Saturn. And I will get that into the description so you can check what they have tuned in for these Vats and the FEP sheet. See? Power supply unit, and this brick is a little bit bigger than what we have on the Saturn. We have a mask and some filters. We have, a USB stick, a scrubber in here, and the knob for the build plate, and there's also some kind of a, let's see, what's that? A card, after sales service card. So okay, some screws, and that's it. Nothing more. And we have a scrubber here. Looks nice. Okay, that's it actually. This was the unboxing of the two printers, and I will compare these directly side by side so you can see what's the difference in a minute. As you can see, I have the printers now in front of me side by side, and you can see that the size of both printers is nearly the same. They also are using the same linear rails here, 50 millimeters on both printers. The build volume of the Anycubic Photon Mono X is 192 to 120 to 250 millimeters, 250 in Z direction, whereas the Elegoo Saturn has the same in X and Y direction, but in Z direction we have 200 millimeters. So it does not have the same printing height as the Anycubic Photon Mono X. But all in all, they seem to be fairly similar. We will check the build plate and see what's the difference in the build plate dimensions. The build plates actually look similar, like the printers do. And if we just put them over each other, we can see that let's do it like this, that the Anycubic Photon Mono X build plate is around 5 millimeters taller than the one from the Saturn, but the build volume is the same in XY direction. The overall structure or surface finish, as we have been talking about on the Saturn, is sandblasted, looks really nice. The corners are a little bit sharp, but that's okay. And on the Anycubic Photon Mono X we have this grinded surface, and I can already see that this is not even, not plain, and we will check that. Let's see. In this direction it looks okay, and in this direction we have, oh yeah, this is bad. This is bad. The corners are not even, so we have around 5 millimeters where this goes down on both sides, and I think we will not be able to use these build plates on the corner here, on the edges, whereas these edges are okay to use. They are great, but going from this side I can see that this is really how you say, grinded down on these corners. Let's see the Elegoo one, and the corners look great. We don't have any light going through, I mean not much on the corners too. So this build plate is even. There should be no problem with this one. So the build plate of the Elegoo Saturn is actually really flat, whereas we have a problem with the Elegoo, with the Anycubic Photon Mono X. I don't know if you can see this in the camera, but we have these edges which are actually not plain, they are not flat, they are just going down. They have been grinding them maybe by hand, on putting them on some kind of a grinder, and have the problems here on these edges. I will write the support team of Anycubic and ask for a new one. Maybe this is just a defective plate. I will also comment this in the comment section. yeah, but the finishes are nice here. It's all aluminum on both, yes, on both. And yeah, that's it actually with the build plates. Let's go on to the vats. So looking at the vats, the Anycubic just came like this. It didn't have a protective film on there, and I already have some scratches on there. Actually, I didn't use it. I was putting it down like this, the FEP film on top. So I don't know how these scratches actually happened. I will just check the tuning of these later on, so you may have the values. If we look at the vat from the Anycubic, from the Saturn, Elegoo Saturn, we have this protective film on there, and I don't have any scratches on this one. So let's see, the geometry is a little bit different here. We have the rounded corners on the Anycubic one, as you can see, but they're nearly identical also in the X and Y dimensions, and also in Z dimension, as you can see. And we have also the same numbers of, nearly the same numbers of screws to fix the FEP. And yeah, anything else to talk about? The Elegoo Saturn has this groove on here to get your resin back into the bottle, where it does look a little bit nicer on the Anycubic Photon Mono X, because it does have this extension of this groove, so you can put this into your bottle a little bit to pour it in there. So this is, I think, better than what Anycubic, Elegoo does have on there. Let's check the tuning of these, and maybe this will be helpful for some of you who want to just tune their FEP films on how they have been shipped. As you know, getting your FEP-Tension right is a little bit difficult. Some don't have any problems, they just use a bottle cap and get on the FEP and tighten the screws and everything is fine, whereas others do have problems with sticking parts. So having some kind of a FEP-Tension analysis is helpful for some of you. And I will check both of these Vats and the FEPs, and check their spectrum in frequency, so the audio frequency. And I have found a nice tool which is called Audizer. It's free on the Android App Store, and I also printed out one of these or two of these drumsticks, and I will just hit the FEP and we will see what the frequency is on these tensions. So this is the Anycubic one, and I hope you can see what's on my mobile phone here. So I'm going to just hit the FEP like a drum, and we have 305 Hertz, and again 305 Hertz, 305 Hertz. So that's for the Anycubic Photon Mono X. And then we are just going to do the same on the Elegoo Saturn FEP. 305, 317 Hertz, 317 Hertz. So we can see that both of these are nearly identical in the tension they have. So if you want to use some kind of a audio tool or spectrum tool, you can do this by using this tool, and also tune in your FEPs by hitting this with the drumsticks. I will upload these STL files onto Thingiverse so we can use this. I will now show you the printers in detail. So if we look at the Elegoo Saturn, we have the LCD here in the front, then we have here the USB port, and at the back we have the network port and the power input and the switch. On this side we do not have anything. And the Anycubic is nearly the same. We have the display in the front, in the middle. We have the USB port here on the side here. And then we have the power switch here on the side again and the power input. At the back we have nothing. Only what we have to mention is there is a sensor here, a light sensor. So you can actually activate this one. When you get off the cover, the printer will stop. You can switch this on and off in the settings. And then we have the labels here and nothing else. We will check the play in the linear rails now. Let's see. This is the Elegoo Mars, and we will also check the how you call it, the Backlash. Let's see, this is first the play in the connection here, where you put on the plate. So let's see. Let's check this, if you can get a nice focus on there. And I will just push and pull on this arm here to see what's the play in the vertical position. And this goes up to 0.1 millimeters and down to 0.05 millimeters. So if I push this down and up, it's around 0.15 millimeters in play, but you can see that this is actually I'm bending, or how you say it, I'm bending the linear rails. It's just going back to the zero position. So if I just let it be, it just comes back to zero, nearly zero, like this. And let's see what we have on the side. Get this to zero. So let's see if I can do this right. We're down to zero. Do a focus. And let's push it. There's nothing. So there's no play in this way. Let's say a horizontal way. Okay, then we will check the Backlash. I have to put the DC power in. So let's see. Power on the printer. We will get off this plastic protection film here. let's see. So we're going to tools and then into manual, and I will go up 1 millimeter up and then 1 millimeter down after placing the dial on here. Let's see. Okay, focus. Okay, I hope you can see this. I will just go up 2 millimeters first. 1, it's exactly at 0. 2, so it's, yeah, at 0. So I'm going down 1 millimeter again, and it's at 0.02 millimeters of backlash. I'm going up again, it's at 0. I'm going back again 1 millimeter, and it's at 0.02 millimeters backlash. That's okay. I think this can be compensated in the firmware or in the G code. I don't know how they do that. We will now check the UV light on this one and see if we have any grid-like structure on there. Let's see if we can get that on the top camera. Okay, so let's see. We go back into the UV exposure. We can also do the tank clean. I will put that down to 5 seconds, and then we're going to see how this will exposure onto the paper. So I will start it, and it looks good actually. There are no grid lines, there's nothing I can see on there regarding the UV. Okay, let's do it again. Exposure, let's do it 15 seconds, and then we're going to check. So we don't have any grid lines here. I did have them on my Mars Pro, so I had to return it. But this Saturn doesn't have that problem. It's a constant UV light. Okay. Then we're going to check the Anycubic Photon Mono X. So we're going to start with the play. Just have to be careful not to drop this onto the screen. Let's see. It's at 0. I will try to get a focus on here. Okay, so let's see. Pulling this arm up, it's at 0.08 or 9, and pushing it's back at minus 0.15. So if we just let it be, I just remove the force here, we are not going back to 0. there's some play in here, so let's pull it and then push it. Let's see. 0.06 plus minus 0.15. So there's much more play in here than what we have on the Elegoo Saturn. So, and it is not going back to the 0 position. If I push here, it's going to 0. If I push on the top, it's not going back. So there is some play in here in this linear rails. I will check the backlash with this one, but before that we will check the horizontal play. Let's see. Focus on there. And I will just push here, and there's nothing. This thing doesn't move here. The whole thing is moving actually, so it's stiff in there. Okay, 0. So we're going to test the backlash. Okay, where it's 0, put in the power. Let's see. Let's focus on the dial here. I will also go 2 millimeters up, and then we're going to move down. Let's see, 1 millimeter. First 1 millimeter up, again 1 millimeter up. So actually this one does have more noise in the Z-axis than what we have on the Elegoo Saturn. I will go down 1 millimeter again. Oh, this is not good. This is bad. Let's see, we have 0 on here. I'm going down again 1 millimeter, and we have a black backlash of 0.18, nearly 0.2 millimeters of backlash. This is not normal. We will have to have a contact the support team for this printer. I don't think that they can compensate for that in the G-code or in the firmware. I will do test prints, of course, with this too, and we will see how they will look like. But the Anycubic does have a problem here with the backlash. Let's check the UV light. Get the paper on there. And see if the camera can see it. Like this. Here it is. Okay. Get the printer on there. Focus. And then we're going to start, let's see, the exposure. First, to test the UV lights, 10 seconds. Okay, it looks good. There are no grid lines. It's evenly exposed. And then we can have actually a test here for the screen detection. I think it was 3 seconds, let's see. And yeah, it looks okay. Great. So that's it for the mechanical accuracy of these two printers. I will just sum this all up and have some finishing words on these printers. Let's sum this all up. If we look at the size of these printers, they're nearly identical, but the build volume is different. Whereas we have 292 to 120 to 200 millimeters on the Elegoo Saturn, we have 250 millimeters in Z direction for the Anycubic, so it does have 50 millimeters more in the Z direction. If we look at the Vats, they are nicely manufactured, nothing to say about that, but the build plates are different. If we look at the Saturn build plate, we can see that it does have a sandblasted finish, and the flatness we look at is better on this one. If you look at the Anycubic, it does have a granite structure in one direction, but we have 10 millimeters of this build plate at the end, at the beginning, where it is not flat. I already contacted the support team to ask if this is some kind of a defect. If we look at the linear rails and their accuracy, the Elegoo Saturn does have around 0.02 millimeters of backlash, and the Anycubic does have around 0.18 millimeters of backlash. I think this is also a defect on this printer. I will contact the support team and we will see how they will respond. If we look at the price tag, the Elegoo Saturn does cost around 450 euros, whereas the Anycubic will cost you around 600 euros. The only thing I have to say at the end is I would keep the Saturn for now. I will check with the Anycubic support team if they can help me out on these problems, but for now the Saturn is the winner in this mechanical analysis of the printer. So if you like what I'm doing, just subscribe to the channel, and I will do some more tests on these two printers. I will also do a exposure test on the Anycubic. There is a file for that on the USB stick, whereas there is no file on the Saturn. But with the newest firmware you have on Saturn, you can also do this kind of exposure tests, and I will post a new episode where I just compare these two testing files. So subscribe to the channel, stay tuned, and find out more here at Twinstock in the next episode. See you soon.